Okay, I'm gonna show you guys all something creepy. So a little while ago, I was sitting around minding my own business, scrolling around on YouTube, and I found another video about none other than Epstein and some of the updates on what's been going on with certain people who are related to him or similar to him in his life.
Canadians are also mentioned in the latest document release in connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
The one name that really stood out is an infamous name to many Canadians, and that is the disgraced and formal fashion mogul Peter Nygard. And it is in relation to an April 2020 letter from the U.S. Justice Department to UK authorities, and it describes the FBI and U.S. attorney, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, hoping to get an interview with then Prince Andrew about possible connections to Nygard. Nygard, of course, faced numerous sexual assault allegations in different jurisdictions, and in 2023, he was found guilty in a Toronto court on 4 counts of sexual assault. So in that letter, there was said to be evidence linking the former prince to both Nygard and Epstein in separate sex trafficking investigations. Specifically, it said that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had visited Nygard's luxury property in the Bahamas at least once, where it says that Nygard is believed to have trafficked minor and adult female victims. It said authorities wanted to ask the then prince about that visit or visits and about anything else he knew about Epstein and related people. It does note that Mountbatten Windsor was not under investigation at the time and that there was no evidence that he had committed a crime. So what could this release in those documents mean for Nygard?
Maybe there'll be some additional facts that didn't come out at trial or during the prosecution that we now learn. It's unlikely, though, that it would lead to any additional charges. You have.
Okay, so did you guys see it? Did you see it? I'm gonna play it again.
Separate sex trafficking investigations. Specifically, it said that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had visited Nygard's luxury property in the Bahamas at least once, where it says that Nygard is believed to have trafficked minor and adult female victims. It said authorities wanted to ask the then prince about that visit or visits and about anything else about Epstein.
Look at Fergie. Look at her face.
People. It does
look at
note
Fergie.
that Mountbatten Windsor
Look
was
at
not
Fergie.
under investigation at the time and that there was no
There
evidence.
we go. Ew, look at her eye. Oh my god, it's so creepy. Like right there. And Fergalicious has plenty of funeral-clad veiled hats, especially in the same style as that other black hat. But I didn't see it in the other video, when the video first started. There's another one there, although it could be the same one. Of course, if I were friends with Jeffrey Epstein, I'd be wearing a veiled black hat. So all logic would dictate to us that maybe it's a veiled black hat and we just can't see the veil. But watch again as she walks up to the camera. As she walks up past the camera, look at her. I don't see no veil. I wish I wasn't looking at Ghislaine anymore. I wish they would just stop showing that picture of Ghislaine, but what are you going to do? Okay, so there she is. She's walking up. I don't see a veil. I didn't see a veil. And she looks totally weird. Ah! Now, it could just be video compression. I don't know. But see, again, there she's walking with the veilless hat. But Prince Andrew looks totally normal. And nobody with the black cubed heads in this video looks normal. And this picture looks normal. Ghislaine never looks normal, even now. But it's just so strange. Prince Andrew looks normal. The only other thing I can think is that we're seeing through a parallel universe through the veil that's on her hat that's making her skin look all reptilian. And even if it was a veil that we just can't see from this angle, it doesn't have those even thatched measurements of like an actual grid that usually encompasses a veil. It does really look more reptilian oriented. It does look more reptilian. Look at the design around her eye. When I darken it, it looks much more reptilian patterned regardless. I'm gonna lighten it, darken it. It almost looks like there's like 2 stripes underneath her eye and then a little face above her eye, which is really creepy. Like a conjoined twin, or a tattoo of a conjoined twin above her eye. Okay, now I'm freaking myself out. But also, too, the other weird and arresting thing about these patterns on her face is that they almost look shiny, like fish scales, or just like scales in general. And the actual thing that I thought looked like a face above her eye, I'm seeing it as a profile, and just sort of a round, artsy, headed looking thing. And then I also said some nonsensical thing about, like, oh, maybe it's her veil from a parallel universe. And yes, I meant that, but also I couldn't get this other video off my mind that I saw the other day.
Having a headband. All you have to do is use an old phone and put it over the video or clip of whatever the Mandela effect is, and it will show you the reality of what we know it to be. Here's another one. Febreze. How do you remember it being spelled? Like this, right? Right? Tom Cruise definitely had glasses. I know he did. I know he did. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Apparently there's a way to expose the glitch in the Matrix. And to show us that we're not crazy with these Mandela effects like Richard Simmons having a headband. All you have to do is use an old phone and put it over the video or clip of whatever the Mandela effect is, and it will show you the reality of what we know it to be.
So yeah, I haven't tried using an old phone and going over a new iteration of this reality with an old phone. I take that with a grain of salt, but I thought it was interesting, just an interesting way to tease our minds. At the same time, it's still very bizarre, this whole thing to where you can't see the veil coming out of her hat, but you can see it on her face. So whether or not it's a veil or reptilian scales, it's still a very strange visual anomaly. Or I should say I'm freaking myself out even more. Jesus. But in any case, Prince Andrew mostly just looks like his eyes are dark and black like his soul. Other than that, and in keeping with a reptilian theme, I caught this video around the same time I caught that weird Fergie anomaly, and I just wanted to play it for you because it gives nod to the reptilians just in direct connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Via Tina Brown, who was a reporter threatening to out Jeffrey Epstein and all his scandalisms long, long ago.
Our lawyers don't talk to me, and we're proceeding, we're happy with what she's got. Next day, I was in the art department at the Daily Beast, and I come out and into my room, and sitting in my room in a chair in this glass surrounded office was none other than Jeffrey Epstein. And I still, to this day, don't know how Jeffrey Epstein got up past the security. No one called me and said Jeffrey Epstein's on his way up. I don't know how he got in there. But there he was, sitting in the chair, stone cold. He was very, very cold. And he looked at me and he said, "Just stop." And he pointed his finger at me. He looked at me with these icy, like snake-like eyes, and he said, "You just stop." And I said, "Jeffrey, I don't know what you're doing here, but you should call our lawyers, and we're going to go ahead with publication. If you want to talk to our lawyers, you can. Just stop." He said it again.
So yeah, so you see the reptilian theme, even there where she's talking about Jeffrey Epstein having slit eyes and being totally angry and just like appearing out of nowhere in cat-like fashion. And of course it's even been argued to me that, and I've seen videos about it on YouTube, that cats are part reptilian because they're the only cats, they're the only felines that have the slit eyes and they hiss at you when they're mad, which I always thought was so fascinating. And also people worshipped them back in the day, which I know I don't have to tell you guys because you're all real savvy. But another thing that was totally weird in keeping up with the Epstein class and reptilian lore is that I had this friend, well I still have this friend, and she worked in New York City in the early 90s. And she worked for this guy who, doesn't have a real famous household name, but he's really a well-known part of the New York elite. And she stated that he had also had ties to Trump and had business dealings with Trump. And he and his son ran her ragged. She was just a receptionist in their office. And one day the dad came in, like the older of the two. And she was working in the son's business, and the dad came in, and he just looked at her, and his eyes got so cold and slit like again. And I can't remember, she didn't really say what he was mad about because she didn't want to talk about it too much. But he just stared at her, and it was so cold, and it sent chills down her spine. And they actually ended up harassing her for a while. I don't know why I'm sounding like I'm whispering, because I still feel like I have to keep it secret. But I don't even remember the guy's name. She just said he was this total New York elite, and she saw his eyes turn to slits. And lest we forget the creepy Nordic alien-looking dude at the beginning of the Fergie video. Oh my god, this is Peter Nygard. He's like the Canadian Jeffrey Epstein. And look at his eye there. It looks really weird. I mean, I know it's just light glinting off of it, but it looks like a starseed type eyeball and a starseed type pupil. Although the pupil does look round, so I will give him that. But regardless, he's the guy who was found guilty of SA on 4 people, and he's known to traffic both minors and adults, and he was found guilty of all that. It's not been said that he actually had direct contact with Jeffrey Epstein, but they probably mind melded. These guys are all probably all psychic with one another. I mean, especially if they're aliens. And frankly, this dude looks even creepier than Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, and this picture up here is him when he's just the age he is now. Oh my god, it's totally freaky. I mean, he looks like a literal vampire or a ghoul. And one of the creepiest videos I found of him is just of him and one of his business associates, and I wish I could figure out who this guy was. Talking to these black African-American, well, some of them are African-American supermodel type women, and asking to buy their eggs. And they love the placenta and the umbilical cord, and it's really, really disgusting. But it's one of the most arresting videos that I've ever seen of someone from the Epstein class. Take a look.
SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out.
Canine?
The canine? Yeah, and this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. Negroes have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that.
Gross.
So
Gross.
for $100, we would pay you for your egg.
$100?
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for wherever I bid, he's going to outbid me. I bought about $60,000 of the eggs. Yeah. If you have an abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord,
Ew.
placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you regard it as waste, then it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody else. It's life
Yeah, you vampiric ghoul.
The best eggs are 16 to 18 years old.
Ew.
16
16 to 18-year-old.
So you may not be our
She's not going to be his teammate because she's too old. God, it's so gross. But yeah, folks, there you have it. Totally gross and disgusting.
Anything else you knew about
Look at
Epstein,
Fergie now.
related
Look at
people?
Fergie now.
It does note that
She's
Malcolm
looking at you.
Windsor was
She knows
not
we're going to be
under
making a
investigation
video
at the
about this
time,
one day and
there was
talking about her
no
behind your back.
evidence that he had
Or in
committed
front of her
a crime.
scales.
So what could
Ew,
this release
so
in those documents
gross.
mean for Nygard?
Maybe there'll be some